Hello ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. This is HD Starcraft and I'm back for the semifinals of DreamHack Valencia, and I'm going to be casting one semifinal game here. This is going to be Goswer User, the Blue Zerg player in the top left hand corner of Star Station. If you guys recall, he defeated Yu-Gi-Oh in the round of 8, the quarterfinals, and we do have some North American representation here in DreamHack. Very excited, and really hands off to Goswer User, really upping his game and bringing it to the next level. And here he is, man. He's the Blue Zerg in the top left-hand corner of the map. His opponent, though, is going to be one of the most fiercest Zerg players out of Korea, if not one of the best. It is Hyun, the red Zerg in the bottom left-hand corner of the map. And if you guys recall, he defeated Lucifron in the quarterfinals that I casted. And I'm actually only going to be casting one game from this set. This is actually game 2. Game 1 went to Hyun in about 15 minutes or so in a very standard Zerg versus Zerg. As you guys all know, I'm just casting, I think, what are the best games from the tournament. So I won't be casting entire sets, just the best. And I think for the next set, I will actually cast every single game because I'm just so stoked to recast those games. It is going to be, of course, Jaedong versus Stardust in an epic rematch from the last DreamHack, the grand finals, in fact, where Stardust beat Jaedong, playing a very aggressive Zerg versus Protoss versus Zerg style. If you guys forgot, go rewatch those games. Stardust just abused Jaedong with some straight up all-ins, very aggressive plays, but it worked, and he got first place. Now Jaedong, once again, coming all the way down the road of DreamHack and is in the semifinals. Will he be able to seek revenge against Stardust, and will he be able to claim first place or not here at DreamHack Valencia? Just stay tuned. I will be casting that entire set, I believe, but for now I will be only casting game 2. Of course, like I said before, Hyun beating Goswer User in the first game. This is game 2, and I'm told this is the game to watch. So here we go, ladies and gentlemen. Both players here going for a natural expansion. And it looks like we have Zergling speed being researched for Quantic Hyun, who has got a little bit of gas going for him. In the meantime, though, Goswer User not opting to go for Zergling speed. He has not researched that quite yet, although he is stockpiling a little bit of gas here. And let's see, he's got 70, he's got 80 gas, so when he gets to 100, will he drop Zergling speed or not? And it would be very unusual for him not to. I think in most cases nowadays in Zerg versus Zerg, Zergling speed is essential, and eventually you want to get up to Banelings as well if you are going to be defensive or aggressive. Banelings are just a good choice all around. Nowadays, though, rarely do you see Zerg players going for you know, early Roach, simply because it kind of pigeonholes you into playing a more defensive style, and if you play a defensive style in Zerg versus Zerg, it's very easy to get overrun. You can never really do damage to your opponent if you're kind of waddled up in your base with a bunch of roaches. So nowadays you do see a lot of Zerg players going Zergling, heavy Zergling aggression, mixing it in with Banelings, and then trying to get up to lair where you really do get the benefit of having Mutas, or you can then go into Mass Roach Hydro, which is a very powerful composition as well. So we'll see what happens, and of course keep your eyes on the color. Goswer User is the Blue Zerg, Hyun is the Red Zerg. We do have Hyun adding on a Baneling Nest. Of course, he was a little bit quicker on the gas, so that does make sense. And so we'll be seeing some Banelings pretty soon here, I would imagine, as a third hatchery is also on the way for Hyun. One Overlord is plopped over there. And of course, in Zerg versus Zerg, you can't use your Overlord to poop down and block a hatchery. It just simply actually lays out a perfect foundation for Zerg buildings, if you will. It further assists them in their birthing needs. So you can't really do that as you can against Terran and Protoss. But nevertheless, it's always nice in ZvZ to have your Overlords kind of polka dotting the map, because in ZvZ you don't really have to deal with any anti-air in the beginning of the game unless someone wants to pull their queens off. And here we go, a lot of Zerglings here, both sides actually rushing Zerglings, and one rush of Zerglings is going to reach his hatchery, and that hatchery I think is going to go down unless Hyun can bring it back in time. Oh, and this is not a good start for him. Oh my god, he's going to be forced to cancel off that hatchery, and unfortunately there for Hyun, he didn't have I mean, I would have thought he saw those Zerglings coming. I'm surprised he just let his hatchery go down like that. I would have thought he would have been a little bit quicker on the reaction and pulled his Zerglings back to protect that hatchery. Now he's not in a great spot to start game 2 at all, although he's going to try to go for a hidden detonation here. 4 Banelings being morphed at the Zelnaka tower. That Overlord is not going to see it as these Zerglings try to bait these Zerglings away. Hyun trying to bait the Zerglings of Ghost User away from the 3rd hatchery, or perhaps from the natural expansion, so he can leak these 4 Banelings on through. But I very much doubt Ghost User is going to allow something like this to happen. I think he will have his units in position to defend. These Banelings now, oh, where are they going to go? They're going to go into the main base instead. No, they're going to change their mind. Now going into the natural expansion, will they be able to get any drone kills? Oh, going for manual detonations right there. And it looks like he was able to get a couple of drones, not too bad at all. A lot of them are in the red though, about 5 of them that almost barely went down due to the Banelings did not. And I mean, I think that could have gone even better for Hyun. Unfortunately, you know, he did kill off a couple of drones, but I don't think it's anything that mitigates the or offsets the loss of the hatchery at the 3rd expansion. So I do think that Ghost User has the upper edge here in game 2, which is good for him because he did lose game 1 in a pretty quick fashion to Hyun. So he needs to win this game right here and now in order to take out Hyun. And so a good start for him, I think. Losing a couple of drones, but in return he did cancel off this hatchery, and so that's a worthy trade. And now Hyun actually going to be going for roaches, going to be transitioning into roach speed, +1 missile attacks just finishing up as well. And it looks like Carapace is also on the way for Hyun at the same time, so he is making that transition into the more stable unit, which is the roach. And this is typically, you know, a much more sturdy way, less volatile way to play Zerg versus Zerg. You can go into Quick Spire and start to pump out a ton of mutas, and you know, players like Jaedong, I think, tend to favor that type of play style, the more traditional Brood War ZvZ. You know, in theory and in practice, roaches and hydras are just so much better. They can take out buildings much quicker. If you have enough hydras and queen support even, or infestor support, you can take out globs of mutas for days. And the only thing you really lose is, you know, you lose mobility, but that's okay. If both players here are going for roach hydra, it really does come down to who's got better macro, and this is going to be a war of the macro. Who can inject larvae faster, keep on top of that, make better decisions. And sometimes even in these battles, you know, having overseers that continue to come in and drop out a contamination on the hatcheries that are spawning larvae is great as well, because it completely cancels and negates the spawn larva for that round. So it's a really good setback that you can deal on enemy Zergs in ZvZ, and it looks like that's exactly what Ghost User is going to do. Drop that contamination, block off the inject larva, and that really does slow down the enemy macro. And right now Ghost User's got the edge. You know, he's got 167 supply over 133. So very nice job right there by Goswer User, and it looks like that Overseer did go down, but hey, it's okay. And there we go. It does look like, oh, Inject Larva now coming out. So maybe in a prior patch, Inject Larva now actually doesn't get blocked off by the contamination. Simply is delayed. It used to be blocked off back in Wings of Liberty, but that must have been a change that was introduced. And here comes Hyun with his roaches, but he's just immediately overpowered by the balls out bonkers roach army by Goswer User. I mean, literally, Goswer User has almost double the number of roaches that Hyun has, and so Hyun just has to pull back. He has no other choice. And yeah, he does have one extra Carapace upgrade, but that doesn't help when you're dealing with almost double the number of roaches. Now Hyun has more reinforcements. He's going to try to hold the line here, but I don't think he's got enough. I think Goswer User is going to be able to win this fight. Although, one thing, then again, Hyun has the +1 Carapace upgrade, but he's still forced to pull drones off the line. He realizes, hey, I just don't have enough roaches, and oh man, this is going to sink him further in the hole, just losing drones, really, in the attempt to defend. And those drones, all they do is absorb 1 or 2 shots from these roaches, but absorbing 1 or 2 shots from the roaches allows Hyun to win that battle, because it basically keeps a larger roach pack alive. Some of these drones are going to go out there. They're basically just meat shields, and they allow Hyun to win that battle. Although, yeah, he loses some economy, he wins the battle and therefore doesn't lose the game right away. So he buys himself a little bit of time here, but I definitely feel like it might not be, I don't know, it probably is worth it, because if he hadn't pulled drones, he might have just straight up lost, but he just kind of delays the fact that he's already at a disadvantage in terms of workers, and that disadvantage continues to go up. Now we have another contamination coming in from this Overseer, another contamination over here as well. Will Hyun drop it? No, he will not. I guess he's gonna wait for the inject larva to come first before he drops the contamination bomb. And there it goes, inject larva now coming out, and Hyun, I guess, is just gonna pull away now. And this hatchery is going to be uninjected, and there you guys can see, yeah, so inject larva nowadays is only delayed by the contamination. It is no longer canceled off like it used to be. So big change right there in Zerg versus Zerg. it used to be just completely drastic. It used to be totally throwing a wrench into the machinery when someone would do something like that, but I guess it's not so bad anymore, as looks like Goswer User is coming out here with just so many roaches. Oh my god, look at how many roaches he's got on the field right now. He's got 64 roaches, all of them at +2 missile. He is actually lacking the Carapace upgrade. Hyun, in the meantime, actually has almost a sizable number of roaches as well, but he's got +2 Carapace. Somehow, some way, Quantic Hyun has been able to pull himself back on top of things, and he is just gonna straight up win this fight. Oh my god, he has better upgrades than his opponent, he has a better concave, and he is on home field. He's got home field advantage as well, and so he's just gonna push Goswer User's roaches right back home. Oh wow, what a sudden change of the momentum right there. And it just goes to show that eventually, man, those upgrades do come, and they really do help you out in the mid to late game. And Hyun now just overwhelming Goswer User's roaches with better upgrades, and he is just going to go on the offensive now. Wow, what a play. And I don't know actually if he has enough roaches to actually win this battle, so he might be overextending just a bit, but he is relying pretty heavily on that +2 Carapace, and it is helping him so much here, even though he's fighting on the other side of the Zerg, on the other side of the map. He is actually, I think, is going to be able to, I don't know, it's going to be pretty close, I think. More roaches are coming out, so yeah, he's going to have to pull back. And so that's the end of that. But, man, both of these players continuing to just trade blow after blow. 14k and 15k resources lost, so it's a very close game right now. In all honesty, maybe Goswer User with a slight edge, because he does have that 4th hatchery up, although he's not really utilizing it. And Goswer User also has a slight supply advantage as well, 160 over 130. I really think that Hyun might have overextended a little bit in that last battle. Might have gotten a little bit too confident, because yeah, he's got +2 Carapace, but you know, that doesn't give you a free ticket to just attack into enemy territory and stay there for that long. And I think maybe he just wore out his roaches for a little bit too long there. And now you can see the upgrades are starting to catch up for Goswer User. He's getting +2 Carapace right now. A couple of roaches also going around the left-hand side of the map, tagging that Xel'Naga tower. Looks like he's going to try to go for a backside attack here to damage some of these drones a little bit. And he's going to get those roaches right on in there, picking off a couple of drones. Not bad at all for Hyun. And in the meantime, using this as a distraction to go into this hatchery, almost taking it out as well, but not able to do so, as Goswer User was there with a huge pack of roaches, and Hyun wisely pulling away. If he had stayed to fight, I think he would have lost all, or at least, you know, a good chunk of his roaches there, but wisely decided to pull away. And actually, Goswer User still has, no, that is Hyun. That is Goswer User with his roaches back there destroying Hyun's roaches. So Hyun had to pull away on all fronts. Very nice job right here from Goswer User defending, and now he's the one on the offensive. He's got 199 supply as well, but you guys can see the you know, home field advantage is very, very good for a Zerg player, especially in ZvZ, because you as soon as the enemy forces push on your side of the map, you have all your hatcheries spawning out larvae, you have all these reinforcements arriving from multiple locations, and you have the creep to assist you as well. So you know, you don't ever want to overstay your welcome if you're on the other side of the map, and it's very quick to get it's very easy to get overwhelmed by enemy Zerg forces. And both these players now are approaching max once again. 200 supply for Goswer User, the blue Zerg, and 191 supply for Quantic Hyun. And will either of these players go up to Hive Tech? It looks like they're just going to stay on Lair. They are not going to even touch Hive with a 10-foot pole, and I have no idea why. I don't know why you'd go up to, you wouldn't go up to Hive. You can get tier 3. You can go Brood Lords if you want as well. It looks like we do have a Hydralisk Den coming down for Goswer User, so that is going to be a bit of a divergence in tech. And typically in ZvZ, you don't really, oh, look at these two roaches going in, trying to take out this hatchery. They won't be able to do it, but a nice attempt by Hyun, nevertheless. But I was gonna contaminating the hatchery as well. But I was gonna say, typically in Zerg versus Zerg, you don't really want to start pumping out Hydras until you're forced to, because roaches are just that much better, that much more cost effective in ZvZ. If you're dealing with mass roaches on mass roaches, Hydras are a little weaker. But the thing is, you do want to incorporate a few because they have better range. They can attack behind your roaches, whereas sometimes your roaches cannot attack. And if your opponent starts to transition into air units, you know, it's just a good idea to have Hydras in general. So that's why we do have some Hydras coming out right now from Goswer User at the very least. Hyun also still trying to take out this hatchery, and it looks like this time he'll be able to. Oh, what a great play by Hyun, going in with the distraction, the main army in the middle, and really just sending in the core right there, the triple roach attack, taking out that hatchery finally, and putting a stop to the mining operations at the 12 o'clock expansion. Very nice job right there from Hyun, as he's also accomplished a 6 o'clock down here at the same time. So he is going to start to slowly pull ahead economically. Very nice job by the red Zerg, and you can see right there he's making a little bit more minerals per minute than Goswer User is, so great job. But one thing he's got to be careful about is his tech is still on roaches, whereas Goswer User now has Hydras. He's also got Infestation Pit coming as well, and you know, I think in general a more well-rounded army, especially at Hive Tech, is going to do a little bit better than just a pure roach pack. And Hyun's got to be careful here. He really needs to get up his technology as well. It looks like he is going to be pushed away, but he's just using this as a distraction to send in more roaches once again. Hyun gonna try to take out the hatchery at the 3 o'clock, at the pocket expansion, excuse me, and he's gonna try to take this out, and he will be able to take it out. The 3rd expansion goes down. Oh man, big plays by Hyun, and he's gonna go in once again with his roaches at the 12 o'clock, and he can take this out as well if he can stay along for just a few more seconds, and he kills off the hatchery at the 12. Hyun is just balling to the maximum right now over Goswer User, and Goswer User, despite his tech advantage, is just getting overwhelmed by roaches at every turn, at every corner. Hyun is there, and Hyun is now at the main and at the natural expansion. Goswer User forced to pull everything back home, but I think he's gonna lose the main base and the natural expansion. What a play by Hyun! And you don't see this every day in Zerg versus Zerg, when you know, sometimes maybe with Zerglings, but not with roaches. Hyun just skated his roaches into every single hatchery, and it looks like, I think he's going to be able to kill off the lair as well. Oh, this is just going to be crippling if the lair goes down, but no, I think Goswer User will be able to surround and defend. And so one main base survives, one lair survives out of all the fallen hatcheries, and what a crippling blow that is for Goswer User. Unbelievable, really. What a play by Hyun. Now, Goswer User really is kind of just forced into this situation where he has to go all in, and he does have 193 supply, so he has a slight supply advantage over Quantic Hyun. Will Hyun be able to defend here? Hyun transitioning into a lot of Hydralisks, upgrades at 2/2 apiece. Neither player ever able to go up to Hive Tech, of course, and here we go. This is it for Goswer User. He has to win this game, or he is out, and he is gonna attack with everything on the ground. But will he have enough? Actually, he might just be able to overwhelm Hyun's Hydras. Unbelievable. And it looks like Goswer User just has enough. He's going to push Hyun's army back home. But of course, then again, you got to remember, this is home field advantage for Hyun. Hyun will be able to continue macroing on his side of the map. And I think Goswer User, realizing that he's overextended his welcome, is just going to pull away. And unfortunately, he was not able to kill off the 6 o'clock expansion. It is down there bleeding. running at just a little bit of HP, and the medics are going to come in and restore it back up to full HP, or at least restore it back up to a manageable amount of HP. So a very nice job right there from Quantic Hyun. There we go, bringing it back up to full. And what big plays we have right there from the Korean Zerg, and the North American Zerg here, Goswer User. Man, he is in a lot of trouble. He has he is down. Actually, he's at 121 supply. He still has a supply advantage over Hyun, and he's been able to restore wow, all of his hatcheries are back up and running. He just threw down all his hatcheries, and in a way, the game is just right back to where we started. Both players have about 125 supply. Both players have 4 bases. I am absolutely stunned. I am staggered that Goswer User was able to get right back into this game simply by throwing down his hatcheries and going for an attack. And I thought for sure Goswer User was woefully behind, but he isn't. And wow, this game is right back on balance on a knife's edge, and we will see what happens. It looks like Goswer User is going to be going for a heavy infestor army now. In fact, he's making 6 more infestors, and a lot of times, man, infestors can be the you know, the tipping factor. If you can get some chain fungals down on the enemy Zerg army, and you have a lot of infestors and your opponent does not, a lot of times that can spring you forward for a victory. And I think Goswer User here is banking on his infestors, and I think he's just gonna let them build up max energy. Why not? Let them have enough energy for multiple fungal growths. And Hyun does not have, I don't see him having any tech coming out at all. He is just now getting Hydra speed, but he doesn't have infestation pit. He's just going to be relying on Roach Hydra here. And we'll see if that's going to be enough to beat Roach Hydra Infestor. The supply advantage once again going to Goswer User. And I just don't know how, man, but his macro is just sick. Yeah, kill off all my hatcheries. As long as I still have 1 layer remaining, I can build up all my hatcheries back up, and I'll still have a supply advantage over you, and I'll have a tech advantage over you. Goswer User is playing a sick game of Zerg versus Zerg, and I honestly don't know how it adds up, but it just does. And Hyun now, he's at only 166 supply compared to 197. I just don't know how this adds up, but here we are. Goswer User now attacking with his Roach Hydra Infestor army. And will Hyun have enough to defend here? It is absolutely essential that Hyun spreads his army out right now. And oh my god, Infested Terrans coming in as well, just to add in a little bit more firepower. And this hatchery at the 6 o'clock, I think, is going to go down. No question about it. Fungal growth coming out right there, and Hyun doing a nice job to dodge it. Of course, in Heart of the Storm, you can dodge fungal growths if you are quick enough, but it is very hard to do. The fungal projectile is pretty fast in of itself. And yeah, I think that Goswer User is just going to have too much here for Hyun to handle. Hyun now on the high ground does have a better concave, but continual Infested Terran bombs coming out as well as fungal growths. And Hyun now being forced to, he's pressed back all the way into the pocket expansion. He is also attacking with a couple of roaches at the 12 o'clock, trying to go eye for an eye. Now pulling drones off the mineral line as well, pulling everything he can to try to hold off against this attack. But I think Goswer User is going to win this battle. In the meantime, Hyun does kill off the 12 o'clock hatchery. So that hatchery does fall down, but at the end of the day, I think Goswer User just by pure numbers alone is going to win this game. He's got 120 supply, and Hyun has only got 11, and GG, Goswer User is victorious. And wow, what a game that was. 33-minute Zerg versus Zerg. And you don't see a long drawn out ZvZ like that nowadays too often. So incredible match right there, which basically ties this series up 1-1 apiece. And I guess I can just go ahead and tell you guys what happens, because I don't plan on casting game 3. I've been told it's pretty short. I think it finishes up in like 5 or 6 minutes. Hyun did end up winning that game. So Hyun does go on to the grand finals of DreamHack Valencia, and we'll find out if he plays against Jaedong or Stardust tomorrow. I'll be casting the entire set of Jaedong versus Stardust, so do stay tuned. And for now, this is HD signing out.